So this video gives you an overview of memory sizing on the Young supercomputer. This is part of a series of videos as part of the Young Events training. Please visit the website for more videos. In particular, we have a video which introduces you to using the supercomputer, as well as a range of software spotlights, which give you introductions to how to use specific software on the Young platform. So the aim of this talk is to summarise essentially how to specify memory sizing on Young, and this is partly in response to a number of jobs being run which are using essentially nodes without the full number of CPUs, partly due to incorrect memory sizing. So it's partly to address that, and also partly for new users to understand exactly how best to choose memory sizing. So if you take nothing else from the video, please understand 3 key points here. The job scheduler on Young is unusual for those of you who've commonly used supercomputers, in that it attempts to get your job running, without you worrying about the configuration. But in doing that, it will essentially allocate your job if you ask too much memory to extra nodes. And what this means is that your job, which maybe only requires 40 cores, will be spread over 80 cores worth of nodes in an attempt to make sure you get enough memory. So incorrect specification of memory will essentially result in underuse of the node. And this is bad because it will charge you more gold time, as well as block the resource for other users. It also means that your job will run suboptimally. An example here on the bottom right is basically allocation of different nodes, and what you see is only two of the cores are allocated to one node and the rest are on the other node. So this is an example where we only need 40 cores, yet 38 of them are on one node and only 2 of them are on another. So in order to combat this, the suggestion is that you check how many nodes your job is actually running, and this is good advice for people even if you're pretty confident you know what you're doing. Certainly for me, it was surprising that actually jobs that I thought would run on a single node were actually spread over 2. So commands such as nodes for jobs followed by your job number is very, very useful when a job is actually running. You should also get in the habit of just checking your host files, and these are of the form job name, .po, and then a job number afterwards to check which nodes are actually used during a job. You can also profile your job using user bin time for both, and from that you can see whether or not the memory requirements the job actually used are comparable with the actual resources that you request. And the third point to note from this video is that the nodes actually have a little less RAM than we expect. Now, the actual nodes on Young, as I'll talk about in this talk, are 192 gigabytes, but actually by the time you've taken into account the various operating system requirements, you end up with only about 180 gigabytes per node. So this suggests a limit of about 4.5 gigabytes per core that you shouldn't go above. If you do genuinely need more, then the 1.5 terabytes and the 3 terabyte nodes are available. But as I'll talk about in this presentation, you essentially will be in a particularly special use case if you're using much higher memory nodes, and generally most jobs of the type we expect to run on Young probably won't need more than 4.5 gigabytes per core.